You're such an asshole.
AssholeConsulting.com, you guys are coming up with nice. It's not that they're difficult questions to answer, it's just that they take some time. These are not light topics. Oh, should I major in English or chemical engineering? I don't know, Amy. What do you think you should major in? I mean, these are, guys, especially the past 2 weeks, got some really good questions. Anyway, Brian writes, I'm a fan of your work. I've been subscribed since 2015 and have purchased your audio book, The Curse of the High IQ. How are people so good at not giving a fuck about truth? And then when presented with information that challenges their worldviews, how come the reaction to me is always met with them being upset or turning violent and calling me mean names? Well, that's not violent. Punching you is violent. Calling you mean names, that's just millennial. I grew up with family who trust everything they see from mainstream media, Fox News, and any time I try to show them how manipulative the mainstream media is and the lies associated with it, I'm always met with people being upset at me or talking down to me. Please do a video response on YouTube addressing this about why this happens. So why do humans hate truth? And I had to sit down and actually fucking work. All right. There are two general reasons why people maybe not necessarily hate truth, although sometimes certainly do hate the truth, but don't like the truth or are antagonistic to the truth. And there's the good, optimistic, hope for humanity reason, and then there's just the truth, which is more misanthropic and based in the real world, and has been what I've seen in all of my endeavors and explorations into human psychology. All right, let's start with the roses and puppies and flowers and unicorns and big-breasted redheads explanation. The ideal explanation, the hopeful one, is that deep down inside, people want to be a good person. And whether you realize it or not, while you're living through life, you're going to experience things, take in information, and you're going to develop a worldview. It is important that you have a worldview because if you don't develop one, you won't know how to function in it. This provides things like rules, laws, etiquette, morality even. What is socially acceptable? You know, you just don't walk into a restaurant naked. Things like that. And just for good moral reasons, you want to be a good person. I want to not be a parasite. I want to be liked, or at least not hated by the people. Not just for survivalistic, tribalistic reasons, because if I piss off the village, they'll ostracize me or kill me. But you don't want to be a bad person. You want to like, oh, I hope I didn't offend too many people or harm anyone. You have a conscience, you have a soul. You generally want to be a good person. And so with this worldview, as you grow up, you invest into it. Sometimes, if you're like me or a lot of people, you really think about it. Like, okay, what does that mean? How does economics work? Am I a parasite? Am I doing the right thing? You are using your brain as a nervous system to learn as much as you tangibly can about the real world around you, assessing the layout of the battlefield, and how am I going to live my life? And everybody, I think, well, not everybody, most people, I think, start off on, I want to be a good person. So what happens, especially because of propaganda, especially coming from the left, K through college education, the media, Hollywood, blah, 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 blah. The information you get is heavily skewed and removed from reality. So you are brought up with very simpleton logic where I want to help the poor people, let's give them more money. Forget what, don't go beyond first stage thinking. Say, well, does that help? Let's look at Detroit. Let's look at Baltimore. Let's look at the black community. Let's look at Africa. And not race, but let's just look at charity in general. Let's look at the trailer parks of Wyoming. Does just throwing money at the problem solve it? Then you have to think of that. And a lot of people they can't get beyond that. They're too busy with life working. They don't want to, it's just, well, we got, or another thing, another canard, an outright lie. There's a wage gap between men and women. Well, oh, women, yeah, there is a wage gap. Women make about 75% what men do, all right? Oh, that's sexist, that's bigotry, we got to get men, oh, that's privilege and all that. Or is it that women don't major in fucking STEM and engineering, and maybe that's why, you know? And if you really cared about women, you go beyond the first stage of thought, beyond the emotions and the feels, to say, well, I actually do want to close the wage gap. Let's get women to get engineering, accounting, the trades, and welding. No, most people are just happy, well, we gotta give affirmative action and raise more money and awareness. Oh, poor girls and men are mean, sexist, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, you are skewed to believe in simple things, simple excuses for complex problems, simple explanations for complex problems. You then espouse these views. You also take action and invest in these views. I should go to college. College is very important. And you do what you think good, productive, honorable, moral members of society do. So you've invested a lot. Your finite life, your beliefs, your ethics, your morality, and then sometimes outright your money and time, education, into thinking that you're going down this right path. Now, if someone like me or you comes along and says, hey, majoring in fluffy bunny studies is not going to get you a job, you are now presenting them with the prospects that all that time and effort and energy they invested into developing this worldview, not to mention investing in it in themselves, like going down this path, that they've wasted their entire time. And there's an element of buyer's remorse. And they hate the prospects of now realizing that maybe they're wrong, they've wasted their time. They're definitely daunted by the fact that they're going to have to invest even more time to make up for the mistakes that they did before. And they also, not that they are a bad person, because they didn't set out, you have to have intent and maliciousness to be a bad person. But now they're starting to think, am I a bad person? Like think of, take for example, sometimes you get a terrorist who is reformed and like, oh my God, I did, and they say, I was a bad person. I was like, oh, well, okay, yeah, but were you indoctrinated in the fucking sheep farms of Afghanistan to hate the fucking great Satan? Might be some, you are a product of your environment, but people don't want to think that I've done harm. I was effectively bad, even though you may not have been morally bad. But I think it's the prospects that they have wasted. I think it's more the buyer's remorse, where it's like, what? My life has been a lie? You mean my master's in women's studies won't help me? And you're that far down the road that you get to make a choice. Are you going to hit the gym and lose weight and maybe find love and have a husband and some kids or a career that really matters? Or since you've invested so much, now it's like now you're a lazy person and you can't go back and you're going to continue to live the lie. So that's the best reason. That's the optimal humanistic reason that people want to be good, but they're misinformed. And so when you produce contradictory evidence towards them living life optimally, but perhaps going down the wrong road or the wrong path, they may disagree with it. Ideally, hopefully they listen to it and they might make some change. Like, oh, that's a very interesting thing. More often than not, I don't give humans that much credit. They have an emotional reaction and they get angry, or at least miffed. Now, the much more likely reason. I say this is 98% of the cases of human nature. Most people are lazy, degenerate fucks. That's what it boils down to. And they, deep down inside, from a survivalistic standpoint, laziness, I think, is inherent in every human being because it's how you survive, especially back in the olden days when resources were limited. But also, it's just human nature. I've just seen it in here. People want to be lazy, degenerate fucks, and they want to still feel good about themselves. I even wrote an article today about David Hogue. Look him up. I mean, it's a great insight into human nature where it's like, well, I'd like to feel good about myself, but I don't want to work hard. How can I do it? Lying to myself. And there are tons of entities, millions of people that will line up to tell you lies. Oprah, The View, the Democrat Party, your teachers, your professors, even your parents, they will all line up to tell you lies, as long as you pay them. As long as you pay them. So here's where this is the false worldview, I'll call it, and the much more likely reason why people hate and loathe the truth, all right? Living in a false world view, a false world view, allows you to protect your ego. It deflects you from responsibility of your failures and owning up to responsibility of your decisions. And it excuses your laziness. It gives you this ideal world where you don't have to work hard and you can still feel good about yourself. All right? So the first one, let's look at the forgiveness of the deflection or the abdication of responsibility for your actions. Most people's lives suck because they themselves suck. I cannot emphasize that enough. Most people's lives suck because they themselves suck. You say, well, do they morally suck? No, they just suck at making the good decisions. They made bad decisions. They had kids they couldn't afford. They majored in the wrong thing. They didn't work hard. I mean, for God's fucking sake, half the clients I get is, I fucked up. I was a lazy fuck. Now how do I unfuck up my life? It's like, okay, at least you admit That's the first step, and that takes pride, courage, and effort. You're actually changing your worldview. Most people are not there. Most people want to continue to live the lie where I don't have to work and I'm a great person, everything's wonderful, and nothing's my fault. And the reason you want to deflect responsibility and all that is because it protects your pride, it denies guilt, you don't feel guilty, you get to feel good about yourself, and it excuses you for being lazy. And we see this all over now. I am guilty of this. Many of you young men are too, even those of you who happen to be of my generation. How many of you said, thank God girls like nice guys? My mom told me, girls like nice guys. They don't like guys with muscles. I'm like, because man, I hate the fucking gym. I don't want to go there. That looks boring as hell. Girls like nice guys. Thank God. That meant you didn't have to work out. That was the real, and then you thought, oh, I was charismatic, and I'm going to write poetry. I'm going to be very charming and charismatic. I'll learn to do, It was just you avoiding the gym and the pain. That's what it was. Another thing, the black community can be just like, no. It ain't because you fucking had 3 kids from 5 different fathers you couldn't afford. It ain't because you fucking were going to threaten to kick your son out who wanted to join the military or go to college because you get less Section 8 housing. It ain't because you're a fucking coke whore. No, it's because whitey is keeping you down. Again, that protects a lot of people based on regardless of race. You can always blame another race. In Indonesia, they blame the Chinese. Chinese make an ethnic minority in Indonesia, but they do very well. Jamaica, it's the same thing. Jamaicans, fair amount of Chinese in Jamaica, interestingly enough. And the Chinese have hard work ethic and they work hard. Is it because they work harder? Nope. Jamaica, oh, it's a racist, bigoted Chinese. It's like, fine, whatever. It's not because you smoke dope, you get pregnant, and you have more kids than you can afford. It's never you. Never your responsibility. Nah, it's the evil fucking Chinese. It's evil whitey. Or in the case of race, it's the evil sexist men that are keeping you down. And that's just because you don't want to face the fact you fucked up, you had kids you couldn't afford, you majored in this stupid thing, or whatever your stupid mistakes was, you don't have no responsibility for it. Let's blame the boogeyman. I mean, my God, this is before most of your guys' time, but I don't know if you remember, but they blamed George Bush Jr. on everything. I got the flu, George Bush. I got a stubbed toenail, George Bush. I got a sliver in my thumb, George Bush. It's just convenient so that you can feel good about yourself, even though largely you're a degenerative piece of lazy shit. And then again, we could, you're not, you're a beautiful girl. You're so special. You're amazing. And it's like, no, you're a 53-year-old, debt-laden, overweight sow with your cats who has no concept of selflessness, no concept that guys like sex, no concept of beauty, and that's why you're a fat, miserable, barely employed, debt-ridden, parasitic, old hag that no guy, that's why you're not married. Consequence? Hit the gym, lose the weight, get rid of the cat. Oh no, that's effort. That's laziness. So it is, again, the human ego and mind is so frail, especially in America. Especially in America, we are so spoiled rotten that our brains cannot tolerate criticism, truth, or reality. We're just addicted to lies and the feels goods. All right. Second thing, ego. Everybody likes to believe they're a good person. And you can't be a good person if you lived your life as a degenerate piece of shit. Right? Oh, you had more kids than you could afford, never got married. Kids don't have a father. Oh, no. He's a degenerate piece of crap. All those guys are, oops, I got pregnant. Oops, I didn't know. So you don't want to feel good about yourself, and so you're going to just believe in whatever you want, and the lies, again, protect your ego. So there's just outright lies about the consequences of your bad decisions, but then this is where we also introduce isms and religion. And I don't mean the religion of Judaism or Islam or Christianity or Buddhism. It could certainly be those things. But isms that are more political in nature that give an otherwise worthless human being, sometimes a negative net value, someone who's negative value, some kind of meaning or purpose in life. So here's where you get your going greens. I'm a feminist. I'm a pacifist. That's a huge one. The skinny little pathetic fucks in high school who do nothing, have nothing to point to. They don't play sports, they don't work out, they don't have good grades, they got nothing going on. I'm a pacifist, man, I'm an anarchist. They wear trench coats, all right? Because it's easier to say, I belong to an ism or this club. Look at me, I have my badge of value. You don't, I recycle, you don't, so I'm a better person. Like, no, you're a lazy fuck who just claimed to have a trait or a belief. Beliefs cost nothing. And you could go on the right side of the politics. So I'm anti-abortion. Do you have a job? No. You're some soccer mom in fucking rich suburbs of Dallas, got nothing else going on. Now you're going to go on anti-abortion crusade. So you see this all over, typically on the left, because they got more isms than we do. But it happens where you are a lazy person, you don't want to work, and you join a crusade. Look at my video, Crusaderism. It's very germane. And all you're doing is protecting your ego. So you live a lie. You make it sound like there's a problem. Did you know that 3 out of 4 dogs go home? And then you join the dog rescue thing or whatever. Not to say that animal cruelty doesn't exist, but you don't join it because you actually care about the dogs. You join it because you got nothing. There's this big fucking hole right here because you're nothing. All right? Then, third, laziness. Related to the first, but people just don't want to work. They don't want to work. And when you try and introduce this concept that, 1, you're responsible for your actions, 2, it's going to take a lot more work to get out, 3, the real world doesn't work that way, 4, you're living off the government check, 5, you're a parasite, 6, if you want to change this all, you got to drop out of this major, you got to work another job, the amount of labor and effort and toil it takes just to support yourself, assuming you don't fuck up, is pushing Herculean. If you've already fucked up, you majored in women's studies. You got a doctorate in it. You got $200,000 in student loans. You bought a car you couldn't afford because you're a stupid dude, bro, 31-year-old. You bought a McMansion you couldn't afford. You majored in the wrong thing. You had kids you couldn't afford. The amount of labor it takes you to get back to just square one is past Herculean. And you don't want to admit, it's too much of a hard thing to admit that your life is going to be different. Your life is going to be miserable. Your life is going to be enslavement. Not to the evil corporations or the sexist men or Whitey or George Bush, but your own fucking self. Like, you're the one that didn't put a bullet in your foot. You shot your fucking leg off. People can't accept that. They just don't have the intellectual cojones to do that. And so they're going to subscribe to a false worldview because they want to remain lazy. I've seen people cry. Not directly related, but tangentially related. There's a girl that had a crush on my buddy back when I was working security back in college. Good-looking guy. And she was a friend of mine. I said, oh, can you set me up with Aaron? His name was also Aaron. I say, well, okay, yeah, I can arrange it. I'll invite you to a party. Invite the girl to a party. Oh, did you ask him out? No, I didn't get around to it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't know when the next party's going to be, but, well, can you do that? I'm like, well, just go ask him out. You know, he works this shift. He's sitting over at the library every Tuesday from, 5 to midnight. He's got that shift. Go talk to him and hit on him. This went on for 6 months to the point she was crying, fucking crying because of the effort and labor and courage it would take to ask him out. 6 months labor. Crying, fretting, to the point she cries. Wake her, hey, do you want to go out? No, I don't think you're that. Okay, fine. It would have been done and over with. People are fucking lazy. They are afraid of labor and effort, which ironically, in a very self-deserving and punishing sense, makes them expend more calories of energy, and it costs them more than if they just man the fuck up and face down their problems. But anyway, that is the third reason people don't want to hear the truth. Right? Now, you take all these things, these 3 things, the deflection of responsibility, people don't want to be responsible for their own actions. Ego, that they don't want to put forth the effort into something that would actually achieve value and give them some kind of value or worth in society. So they replace it with a religion of an ism or an ist. And then third, the laziness, where they're just self-condemning themselves to be in that. Now you come along, tra-la-la-la-la, Mr. Truth-selling man, and what do you think that these pathetic inferior fucks are going to do? What do you think the reaction is going to be? So, here's the thing. Okay, you introducing the truth makes them think about these 3 things, and you tell me what kind of mood these hypocritical people are going to be in by the time you're done telling them the truth. 1, they fear that they're going to have to work and make up for lost time. That their life is not going to be eating bonbons and watching The View, but yeah, you're going to have to work at a factory at night, and you have to work another daytime job, and then maybe after 10 years you get... No, they want to collect their government checks, and they want to just sit there and think that some rich guy's going to marry them, or that inevitably they're going to get their job at, fucking Facebook or whatever. Not going to happen. They're going to be neats dwelling in the basement forever. 2, they know they're hypocrites, and they're going to have to face the fact that they did it to themselves. Like, there's no one to blame. It's them. All right? And 3, you take away the false god that gives them their meaningless meaning in life. Like, now you're basically a worthless piece of shit. And that's why humans hate the truth. Because for the most part, there are very few genuinely intellectually honest human beings that support themselves, take full ownership for the mistakes and their successes, and then don't believe in some pie-in-the-sky bullshit because they're too damn lazy to actually go on and accomplish something themselves, and they go and make it with a substitute religion. Like, I'm a feminist, I'm an environmentalist, I'm this, I go organic, I shop at Trader Joe's. Right? There are very few truly good, honest, real men and women left in America today. World War II generation was a little bit different. Now, this is why people hate the truth. Because most people are living a lie. And you come along, say, hey, don't you care about society? Hey, don't you care about yourself? Hey, don't you care about your children? No, they don't. They only care about them and their lazy fucking degenerate piece of shit life. So when you show a mirror into them, they get pissed because they see what pathetic pieces of shit they are. And they're not going to take it out on themselves or the mirror because they're too damn egotistical for that. They're going to take it out on you. This is why all libertarian or conservative or people say, hey, you got to cut back on the welfare. Like, oh, you're all racist, bigoted, homophobe, sex, whatever the fucking ism du jour today on the menu is. Right? And this is why you catch flack. The real issue is one of those things like, are you going to change it? Now, again, when I was younger and idealistic and dumb, I used to think, maybe I'll change. Maybe people have a vested interest in intellectual honesty. And all right. Do you want to waste your time dealing with that? I get paid for telling the truth. You don't. Okay? So ask yourself, is it worth your time? Is it worth the headache? The reason I charge more and more, I found out, is I got sick and tired of friends that I desperately cared about telling them the truth and them not following my advice. Sometimes even hating me. Refusing to and I look at people that I care about suffer the consequences or just suffer in general. There's one in particular, not necessarily a friend. It hurts. It fucking hurts. Because I kind of cared about the kid and I'm like, but you don't control it. And this brings up a third question you get to face. That's fine if you can let go of it and accept the fact people don't like the truth. That's fine if you can see your friends and loved ones suffer because they live lies. Third question. For people who aren't your loved ones and the assholes who call you an ist or an ism because you simply tell the truth, don't you want to profit off of them? Maybe it's better to tell them lies because they're not coming back. They're not going to believe it. They're not going to like have this epiphany and wake up. Maybe, what's his name? We talked about it on Entrepreneurs in Cars. Was it Mark Hennessy? No. There's a guy. 2 guys. There's one guy who wrote a book called Why Black Single Moms Deserve Mature Men, or some title like that. And then there's another guy, a Hennessy, I think, Mark Hennessy, David Hennessy, something like that, where he gives dating advice to women and they're all amazing and they're wonderful and you go, girl. Lies. Lies. And if people are going to punish you for telling you the truth, but they're going to reward you financially and with fame and celebrity for lies, for fuck's sake, go sell some fucking lies. So, that's why humans don't like the truth. And I would argue for your own mental sake, don't try to convince them. Live your own life. Surround yourself with friends who believe in the truth. Tune in to Stefan Molyneux, know thyself. Refuse to date any girl or guy that lives in lies. But then, the second they start telling you you're an ist or an ism, because you don't believe in their bullshit God or their bullshit politics, or you're not going to go along with the lies, by God, you sell them truth up the ass, and you charge for it. I'm sorry, you don't sell them truth. You sell them lies. You sell them lies up their ass. You fucking become the next Oprah, and you charge those motherfuckers. And then you can retire nice. Retire good. And I think deliver some modicum of justice to society. Because if these people insist on going off the cliff and giving you the finger while they're going down, you just push them a little bit more. Just push them. Give them their vice. Give them their drugs. Give them their feel-goods. Give them their heroin. Give them their dope. Go. Yep. Cats and feminism. Push them right off. Because they deserve it. And you might as well make a little bit of scratch along the way. All right, on that very happy note, if you guys got questions, the old captain's got answers at assholeconsulting.com, America's older brother. If you want to check out my books, which I strongly recommend you do, go to amazon.com and search Aaron Clarey, AARONCLAREY. Podcast, the Clarey Podcast, that's on SoundCloud.com, and Patreon.com. You can go patreon.com/Aaron Clarey, donate money. For whatever reason, if you think you want to give me money, you can. I don't really need it, but it pisses off all the right people. All right, we'll see you guys later. Toodles.